Is God cruel? Why did he destroy so many people in the Old Testament?
That's actually a very good question. Many skeptics and atheists will point out moments where God ordered entire nations to be put to death, which included women and children in the Old Testament. But here are some things to consider before we jump to the conclusion that God is cruel. We know from Scripture that God only decreed entire cities and nations to be destroyed when it was because of rampant sin. In Samuel, we see that God ordered Saul to attack the Amalekites and to put everyone to death, man, women, and child. This was because of history when the Amalekites attacked Israel back in the day when Israel was at its weakest. This was likely a great sin against God. We can also see God tell Abraham in Genesis that the Canaanites, along with other clans, would be destroyed 4 generations later due to their insurmountable sins. But what about other cases that didn't involve putting people to the sword? The first case we see is Noah's Ark, when God flooded the world. This was because mankind had become too wicked and rebellious in sin that God decided to wipe out so many people. Keep in mind that there were likely women and children who perished in the flood as well. Next we see Sodom and Gomorrah. Although Abraham tried to negotiate with God to not go through with wiping out the entire city, God still followed through. But notice what Abraham asked God before he closed the trial to send sulfur onto the city. Abraham asked God, if 50 righteous men live in Sodom, will God rain down fire? God replied that he would not destroy the city. Abraham then kept asking until he asked God if he would destroy the city while even 10 righteous men lived in Sodom. God responded, he would not destroy the city. So we know that if even 9 righteous men lived in the city of Sodom, God would still send fire down upon the city. We can see that God's principles are to be upheld even if his chosen people get caught in the crossfire. Is God then cruel and unfair? Or is he like a force of nature that doesn't discriminate? Would you get mad at a tsunami or hurricane that wiped out an entire city? These forces of nature do not discriminate between righteous, man, women, or child. When they come to do their damage, they will do their damage. Have you seen anyone get so upset with a tsunami that they vow never to drink water again? As to what happened in the past when the people were destroyed, is between them and God in the afterlife. God can judge everyone individually as it is recorded in Ezekiel, which shows that the blameless or the righteous who perish in the city, God will redeem.